how's the campaign going? More listening to a question.
They became a mean chair with tear for. I feel me who into my mama official.
Fish up, I think,
Nah, men fuck when you're and I mean that Ghana for you now. So far, so very good. Baby, I yet 2 more queen. Baby, I could be a Ghana for J. I'm a mama, and it does so strong. I'm saying I'm a pa, it couldn't be on the 7th of December 2024. It is so far so.
What has been some of the things Uncle for catching them? Because I'm listening to all right.
Yeah, more or less. Catch up what Papa so enjoyed.
That's all.
Maybe I didn't hear no one.
I don't know, you know.
I thought I saw the demonstration. Not here, trend. All the way home. So enjoyed your hand of no. Video about. That's what we ended up.
And that's also been part of the video. Yeah, you know, no, it was so.
Into you know, in opposition, you can only sell hope. And you know, you're quite area at the share. Na and also na inform your policies ne decisions are a fine space or your manifesto ni mu and some are Ghana for catching the bebre and you know ye gidi say by the time we launch a manifesto June no na the various issues are almost raising here at the share a catcher Ghana for kuma so no na dodo na niema sabi technical team now more draft manifesto no apple solutions to it. Maybe our president Mama Bekobiano, you are a trophy Udinachi. It's a sembia Ubia Bekebian yetro. And the NDC is noticed that ye promises keke. It means pelia yentro. And to say union mobia or more de 2 minutes, you know. There's some cartoony passum, nani patwa by mom on Becca. So we listen to what the people are saying. Your technical committee almost na ya assess the bit me aye no ya catch so on the president mama ka sembia our platform this one na dia ya assess because 2020 or an ya call senator and you will never be your manifesto anymore you say in 2024 it will still be relevant. One of the name woman and ababe catch the 24-hour economy in 2020 it was in the manifesto. At that time, the economy needs 10 pounds. Some could do baby and ababe do no. And I'm gonna say the Mrebiano any nearby here, the service our problem. No. And the baby Ghana could do no. We need to move away from the traditional way of doing things to a more drastic approach at the best of the problem. No. That is why in the 24-hour and ababe catcher. No. You know, when you hear President Mama speak,
and if it was in the manifesto 2020 then.
Yeah.
How come say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama spoke about it? No. Some are saying say more communicators had no idea about it.
That is not true.
Did you know what the whole thing was about?
I was one of the communicators. I spoke on there are various interviews you can find out. I spoke on the 24-hour economy. But sometimes
it was even alleged says came out to say they should hold on to it because
it's not true. It's not true. And I'm because of the exigencies of the time and it determined and Nema ebe trendy. In 2020, the issues then maybe 24-hour and I'm finding space and I'm top and resonating. But then we should the way economy na ye na Nema adani na. You need something more drastic.
What is it about?
The 24-hour economy.
Yes.
Oh, it's a policy framework. It determines that one, we cannot impose the 24-hour economy on anybody. But for any policy to have a proper implementation process, we need a legal framework. What government seeks to do is to bring the legal framework. The economy will run a 3-shift system. So 8-hour shift, 8-hour shift, 8-hour shifts. So for instance, what the Obi Akko emergency ward Ahimachi by 2 a.m. near Catros and Doctor Nihonom. If there is a policy say all hospitals should operate 24 hours or government hospitals are operating within 24 hours, what it simply means is around the clock there will be a lab technician. in PMP, you know, and yet doctor and who here auxiliary staffs, no, lab technicians, X-rays, this and that. Because when there is an accident, and Himachini and Russia be a hospital, now there is no X-ray technician. Now you need maybe internal bleeding if you are an MRI operator. You need maybe internal bleeding if you are. What's the doctor going to do? Is the doctor just going to open you up, try and error? So those auxiliary staffs are equally important. So when there is a policy or there is a legal framework in place, that all these staffs are working 24 hours. What it means is around the clock, there will be somebody at the hospital to attend to you when there is an emergency. What it also means is say not one shift system and a fat nanaya brefon. What it means is that 2 other people will get jobs because 8 hours new year will be by 8 hours, will be 8 hours. So say nipa one pen and occupies our position now. What it means is that 2 additional people will have the opportunity to get a job. Most importantly, it will expand our economy. When more jobs are created, it means that more taxes will be paid to the state, more revenue will come to the state, and more other developments can be tackled. It's a comprehensive policy. GD said it will take Ghana to the next level.
Well, some of these things you're talking about, and some of these services, they don't really generate much.
No.
You have fun say hospital, I can't watch it. And then because of national health we don't really do cash and carry. Until the hospital is struggling as we speak. Some of them owe ECG. And ECG is even threatening, say, with this 24-hour economy, national health insurance scheme has issues, payments, and the matter say even
180 million Ghana cedis has been paid.
Even supplies to buying schools for school feeding, where would we find the money to support this policy you are talking about?
Nanaya, when you bring policies, here. But like I started by saying, it is a legal framework that is the most important. Once the legal framework is created, you will now tend to find the resources to run it. You started NHIS under President Kufuor when it was desperate help. We didn't know where the money was going to come from. You started and the tax elements, you decided to say the NHIS levy, and see every transaction you do, you are going to pay X, Y, Z. When we started Get Fund, the framework was created before we decided to say we would tax a certain percentage of revenue into a. Now say you are covered by a year, you then your mama free, you go for COVID recovery levy and buy.
Yes.
There are so much waste in the system. The number of ministers in Kufuor are appointed, and the chief executives in Kufuor are appointed, and the special assistants are being no more. There are so many. You cannot say waste our system. You can see a catcher will find it. The most important thing is creating the legal framework, and in creating the legal framework, then you can now look out for revenue targets. All kinds of hospitals generate revenue, and I beg to differ. Hospitals generate revenue.
Yeah, to some extent.
They do generate revenue.
Yes.
It is a revenue-making venture. Your IGFs in most of these big hospitals. But your first one, you utilize it or not. And it is the management of those resources and the biggest challenge. So if we set up proper management structures, none of our hospitals should be running into losses.
But in 2020, most started with a big push. Is it 10 million jobs or something? No. 10 million, is it? Okay, the big push.
The big push is an investment that is going to create jobs. You see, the big push was putting 10 billion, is it $10 billion? I don't recall it, but it's about Sika and the right infrastructure into the economy.
Okay.
And then intend to create jobs. Because when you start doing construction, you're creating jobs. When you are building hospitals, you are building roads. My
question is, most started with a big push. Movie said Kofu and taught the big push. So you are now starting with something called the 24-hour economy. No. Is it a game changer?
No. Is it Echo right?
Yes. JB, yes.
JB, you are misunderstanding the whole thing. We've not even launched our manifesto yet. The 24-hour economy, as a result of President Mohammed's engagements with unions, trade unions. It was the unions that even brought it up again, said they've seen this and they think it's the game changer. And then President Mama spoke about it when he met them. Said, this is how he intends labor to go. Because right now the biggest problem confronting this country is unemployment. And you see, if we decide, if we decide, say, he's producing maybe during the day. What we are saying is that you have to operate during the day and also operate at night. And then at enumerator, you have rebates on your electricity. Because what it means is that you'll be employing more workers. So I say. So we will give you that, but you cannot say oh yeah, during the day and then rebates. That doesn't work. To
solve unemployment, how can one say me? MPP introduced one district, one factory as a solution to unemployment.
And of course, NAPCO and other special initiatives.
Yes.
And what has become of them today? You see, we are talking about sustainable employment.
Would you continue it?
NAPCO?
No.
Which one?
One district, one factory.
Any policy that is laudable, and if you know the NDC very well, and our president Neil say, maybe our president Kufofia CBA na Papa Biano. We came to continue.
Like what?
Oh, about the things president.
Yeah, NDC by Umbetua. So
one, the buy na president Kufa started school feeding. We did not abandon school feeding.
But during your time, you admit that the school feeding was not in a good shape.
So we brought legal frameworks to correct it and put it in a good shape. NYA youth employment. Before they started, there was no legal framework. We made it an authority. Health insurance. It was a district health insurance before left for all of us.
But in your time, you
an authority.
But in your time, you admit that health insurance is also not. It wasn't the best.
No, it was.
No. You see. But you see, what health insurance is today. What YE is today, we left them over 200 million into the account. You can find out from Samuel Okunomo. It was, you see, Ostati BB. One district, one factory has a legal framework for it. There is none. So say, if we don't put in place those legal frameworks for it to become properly established, and take it or leave it, we have made the NHIA what it is today.
You?
Yes.
NDC?
The NDC.
We introduced captation.
You see, no,
and all those kind of other alternatives. And you are telling us that you made it what it is today.
We have made it what it is today, and I'll tell you why. When we came, now health insurance card, beyond district now, you could not use it anywhere. That was just like capitation in another form. What do you understand capitation? That was just like capitation in another form. We came to turn over the legal framework and make it what it is today. Today, your health insurance card can work anywhere in this country wherever you find yourself. Today, it is an authority on its own that has laws that guides it. No, Jida, I'm speaking to Jida.
Okay.
I confirm this because there was no legal framework. So anybody could do anything. Why we made it what it is today. There was not a dedicated source of funding for it. You see, you talk time tax. Where was the legal framework? There was no legal framework. We came to set it up today. One of the places that Neskada was the YA, Kodria BD, and there was over 200 million Ghana cedis in that account.
And a YBD?
Kodria ABD CEO or Honomono. But there was that amount of money there. So you see, when governments come, you assess the good, the bad, and then you try and make it work. The NHIA may have had issues in terms of funding, but take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Unemployment at the moment, there's an increase of 14.7%.
Certainly.
1.2 million. If you put it in context. You as the youth organizer for NDC, how would your manifesto capture these youth? 24-hour economy. How are you going to address it? Apart from and then as you go around, you are talking about things that are not going well. Okay, economy. How are dollar nikosro, petrol boy, and the unemployment as I've stated, national health insurance, like infrastructure wise. His Excellency has said he's not going to introduce anything new within 4 years. How would you solve some of these problems?
Nanaya, when you talk about unemployment and You look at even our manifesto of 2020. They are near friend the People's Manifesto. Our manifesto of 2024 is not ready. But because of where I sit, I'm privileged to some of the things. Because we have a youth committee on a manifesto, and so they report directly to me. I can assure Obi Biara OTM, especially Mebununa Omo page from page 1 of our manifesto, it's here launching, to the last page. Every page, every policy talks about how we can create sustainable employment. Yeah, well, employment, like NAPCO, employment, it's not sustainable. And we are looking at sustainable employment. Employment, people, and you see, you may be employed, but you may not have job satisfaction. We are looking at sustainable employment with job satisfaction, so that because when you are working and you are not even happy, you still, and most of the people who claim they are unemployed, when you dig deep into the data, there are some with jobs, but because there is no job satisfaction, they don't even regard themselves as gainfully employed or working. And so we are looking at creating sustainable jobs that are rewarding, and then also gives you job satisfaction. That is one.
From where?
From where? From within the same economy. And I'm going to say, every policy page, once we launch the manifesto, you see. For instance, the big push is not going anywhere. It is coming back. So if we are going to put $10 billion into infrastructural development, what it simply means is that masons, artisans, carpenters, all that group, people who do...
Mobile regularizer one. And I'm so be a Juma or be a Juma the dada.
Debbie, you see, when I'm doing construction, when I decide to do construction here in this premises, what it means is that I'll need carpenters.
Yes.
What it means is that because there are people who are carpenters, there are artisans who are out there who don't have any jobs. They have the skill. The skill sets are there, but they have no jobs. When we're in government, between 2009 to 2016, they're friendly labor-intensive jobs, purposely targeted at people within rural communities that have more skills, but could not find jobs. And to say, feeder roads, instead of saying, big contractors, we left some for labor-intensive, where the district assemblies supervise. All those things are finding spaces again in our manifesto, so that those small people are almost properly organized, can also find jobs to do. And the labor-intensive jobs, it carries over a span. And the ILO, as you said, in such a way, say 3 months, most of these jobs will run maybe about 6-7 months, so that sustainably, But apart from that, we are looking at the big push, where we are going to invest in ICT infrastructure. We are going to build technological theme parks. Baby Baku and a work cycle. Where today the data center now says, is there easy that built it?
Okay.
The main idea behind it, it was supposed to be a technological theme park. And we're going to build 3 in the Ghanaian, within Ghana, just like the Silicon Valley idea. Not too long ago, Nigeria and the Silicon Valley, Tinubu on the Silicon Valley, are launching some joint project where Silicon Valley is going to push money into the Nigerian ICT space. It was the same concept we had. So we started by building a data center. It was supposed to be a hub for young people to network, incubators, to start, because the world is driven by AI and ICT today. And so we're going to look at how we're going to tap into that sector and create more jobs for people. Sports.
No problem. Me person be journey free. Me passion.
Let me listen.
Creating jobs.
Yeah.
Me person who over the last 8 years I be di akonya so. You remember na mo create yes still na that's what I mean it's still employing people. Because if you tell me that you want to create sustainable jobs, what kind of job did you create in the last 8 years? And I'm still now for that so enjoy from it.
In the last 8 years when we were in government, if not for anything, with the data from the Ghana Health Services, when we were building school blocks, the more school blocks we built, the more teachers we gave spaces to occupy. When we're building more hospitals, the more hospitals we're building, we're giving spaces to nurses.
Which hospital did you build? Which hospital did you complete the commission here?
University of Ghana Hospital did we not finish and complete. I was there when President Mama commissioned it. That one alone, the Ridge Hospital, the expansion that was done there, did we not complete it? The various district hospitals are completed around this country. Do I need to tell you? Why is President Mama called the nation builder? Because of these things. When we decided, we're taking even away teacher training allowances to remove the quota system, you know what it meant? It meant that more people could find space in the classroom and go and train as teachers.
Would you pick that thing back?
You see, it's become a very thorny issue as to whether we are going to cancel the allowances or not. But this government has come to introduce the allowances, but it has come with its own problems. You expanded infrastructure in most of these teacher training colleges. Today, a classroom is between a FANIPA 10 and FANIPA 5. You know why? Because they've introduced the quota system again. So this is something that all of us as a country will have to start asking ourselves. We have elevated teacher training, those times there is teacher training schools who are awarding certificates, to colleges of education. So it's become tertiary. Maybe you could invest in a mommy loan. Menje allowance biya. Obizo called tertiary because now we are all tertiary.
Yes.
That's already the Yemen allowance. And
there was a reason for that.
I'm coming because that time we didn't have enough teachers. People were not even going there. But now there is a demand for people. People are now nipato from school. So this is a debate. It is not. I'm not a policy maker, and so I cannot sit here and say about A or B. It is the sole prerogative of President Mills and President Mahama. I may, as youth organizer, advise, but as to whether that advice will find space or not, no. But as it stands today, the question Ghanaians and the United States was, is it still relevant to pay those allowances? If not, what is the alternative? And then we can together fashion out a way, because you see, we still need teachers. We still need more teachers in the classrooms. Whether we have the capacity to employ those teachers when they graduate is another discussion we must have.
But you were clear with this free SHSA, you want to review it.
Yes, when we spoke about reviewing free SHS, we spoke about...
So would you review this nursing training allowance, teacher training allowance as well?
Judge Opare Addo seated here. I don't have the power, and I know JB agrees. I don't have the power to say I will review. I can't.
but you are privy to. You are even privy to manifesto.
I can advise into it as to whether that advice.
Meaning you wish we will review it.
For me personally, my personal position on teacher training allowances is that if it has become tertiary, rather we should make loans easily and readily accessible. The procedures for assessing student loans was a bit cumbersome. We should find a way of making it less cumbersome, which Osha Manifesto we've proposed such out. I cannot speak to it because it's not out yet. But we've proposed alternatives of making student loans less cumbersome. We have an issue with nurses. Brain drain has hit us heavily under this government. Right? What do you care now? Now the number of health professionals they figure out more. How do we retain them here? It is good, and President Mama was talking about we exporting some of our nurses. But individuals are profiting of export of your nurses and training and make more profits. How do we find a balance between training more health professionals, because the world needs them? Cuba is training and exporting. It is a way of creating revenue for us as a country. How do we balance it of training more nurses? We don't have to lose the experienced ones. So how do we balance it? You're training 10 nurses and you're 10 nurses on my 20 years. Do we lose the 20 years experience and then replace them with the new ones, or we balance it? Or you're 5 years, then you transit. No, how do we do it? These are things that I believe, as a country, we all have to debate on. But I've seen part of our manifesto. There are some in there maybe in that respect. We will train more nurses for exports. That I can assure you. And as for teachers, the demand for teachers is not as high as health professionals. But we need more teachers to occupy most of our classrooms. That's up to date. And when you go out in rural Ghana, we still have classrooms without
mobile agenda 111 metro.
Of course, yes. There's a laudable project. Why would we want to abandon it? Healthcare, critical. If a government has started, a gang of three, President Kufuor, there was no funding. It was not in. There was no budget line for it. President Mills be pay budget line for it. So why would we abandon the agenda 111?
It's because former president has spoken about it. Say over ambitious. Like His Excellency, why?
Being over ambitious doesn't mean say or say on twasso. What it means is that it has put more burden on the state, because if it was planned properly, we had a lot of hospitals under the NDC. A lot of them. So why not why not complete the existing ones? And then key areas now near here. Because what we did was that we were building CHIPS compounds between every 600-700 meters. We are now healthcare, we're putting CHIPS compounds there. And then we're building district hospitals and regional hospitals. And upgrading the existing regional hospitals now. Let's say elevating to teaching hospitals in them. And we're doing that. So if you had this money and you wanted to do 101 hospitals, I said
111, yes.
Why don't you identify the key areas now, and position them? Every government will want to start legacy projects so that at least it didn't better so. But the existing ones now abandoning that area. Why don't you use the money to finish it? That is why he said it was over ambitious. But he didn't say it's about one to us.
Let's look at education sector.
Yeah.
Reviewing free SHS. What does it mean?
Review means review. Every policy starts here after 2-3 years.
You bet free SHS.
We can review, it's not cancellation. There are two different, distinct English words. MPP for their propaganda, review better than a cancellation. Say, what is studio here? After 2 years of you sitting in this chair, if there is no review, then the station doesn't want to grow. Because what it does is that...
You're in 2 years.
Exactly. Review now is a started policy, Yeah, because at the beginning of every policy, your friend is hitting problems. It's, where 2-9 crown is and feeding is a big challenge in our secondary schools because of free SHS. Feeding.
School feeding?
No, feeding.
Feeding is
feeding.
One hot meal a day for the students.
No, not even
and
a day.
Also
students.
the boarders.
Boarding schools, feeding.
But there were plenty for food and jobs, which is providing more food for the schools.
Oh, JB, are the young country and I am blue. Haven't you heard headmasters 2 days ago? Dropper headmaster complaining that he doesn't have no food in the storeroom to feed the students.
Buffer stock.
And provided. Feeding is a big problem that. So if you are going to do a review, you'll be looking at these things. Are you going to do free SHS and look at feeding, say parents now, will parents support? Because not too long ago, we've had people in government saying that, even the finance minister, saying that it is time parents begin to contribute to free SHS. And so when you are reviewing it, it's a broader policy.
Which aspect are you looking at?
For the review.
Yeah, it's a review, but which aspect?
Curriculum.
Are you going to let people, those who can pay fees?
No, but review is not just about paying a fee. So the curriculum will have to be reviewed. Because I'm a producer.
Is it from 3 years to 4 years?
No. You see, when I say curriculum, I'm not even talking about duration.
Okay.
We are looking at first batch Area Secondary School, Area University. Performance not the same. Have you heard the investors saying that they want to introduce entrance exams again because the standards are low, the standards are low? Why is the investors, why are the vice chancellor saying this? So I said, then it means something is not right. The contact hours now between the teacher and the students. I could go school 2 weeks, I bet 3 months. All these things are things you need to look at when you talk about review. Because contact hours is critical. In this, I could go school 2 weeks. Near man a vacation 3 months no better than fear. We need that 2 weeks. What did he acquire? Knowledge we no 3 months no better than if you not the day. The headship system is still going on in our secondary schools.
Yeah.
Is that what we want? It's still going on, some or not, because we've never had shift system until the introduction of free SHS in secondary schools. We were abandoning shift system here and the shift system of basic schools, and now we find it happening here. So how are we going to review it? Even our universities are now doing shift system, some of the schools, because of the numbers now. So how are we going to put infrastructures in place? How are we going to build on, especially teacher motivation? How are we going to look at the teacher? The number of contact hours. Are we going to do extra classes? Why are the vice chancellor committee say now they need to look at entrance exam because standards near they don't really meet the cutoff? What do we have to do to make it better? And that is what review simply means. Not to cancel anything. And I can assure this year be OT and Ghana and BOT and say President Mama will not cancel, because let me remind you, I was an MC in government.
Yes.
The last 2 years of President Mohammed's administration, we started progressively free senior high school for day students. You start here, now program I admit I say Opare Addo.
So no, the evidence is clear.
The evidence is there.
Parliamentary hazard has.
Yes, you start here.
Yes.
You start here, so and Article 25 of the Constitution. Once the program has started, I be a no between about between. So as I say, but what we can do is to review it to make it better. And that is what the NDC consistently, like I say, you buy, say, we have a shame crying. Now review the year. Even free SHS, there is no proper up to date, no proper legal framework. I'm from
Free SHS.
Yes, I'm telling you, there is no proper legal framework. But that is how they've always implemented their programs. Program be introduce ye biano. Legal free. They believe in slogans. They run with it. Then the NDC comes, look at it, do the legal framework, goes to Parliament, gets legal backing, and then it becomes.
Mamifra into mining as we speak. We had Galamsey going on. His Excellency tried restructuring it because now say forest, Yensio, any idea pushed money into it, bought drones and stuff. I remember 2020 elections. Munipa Baku Kaka said, Abino or Mutu Abama NDC, I remember Kwame Omaye, Galamsey Nibium. Then at the moment, Abay introduced community mining. What are you looking at when it comes to mining? Are we maintaining community mining? What are we doing?
You see, I've always said, Sikasha Sasias and Kwadi.
Yentu.
Menkasi yentu. Say Sikasha Sasias and Kwadi. Say, one, Shembre ya, Nipanebe Pequine Bia, Bakutu.
Okay.
So I say, and I mean, who says Sikasha Hano. Nametiasa says, Namema commanded me that. But I buy what I said here. I buy I said here and say, Obey Yembra. Wash a Shembrano. Now I enforce Embrano. Now why you're complicit in science, now we're making sure that the right things are.
You think government failed in that?
Oh, but Anaya, you don't need to be told that government has failed with the fight against Galamsey. Government itself is complicit in the fight against Galamsey. When government seizes excavators, now Abaya Benjamin excavator, now buying to me accounting for excavator, no, now buying crop to excavator and prosecute you. What else would you say? When senior members of government, a battery home, no be any someone who took Galamsey.
Who are you talking about?
So this is a lawyer. So this is a lawyer. Me already said and let me spare your station all that. But there was senior members of government. Sebi and NAS evidence. Echichi binomo. Ye we binomo din on tape. Ya tie binomo. Ya tie Professor Frimpong Boati, a former minister in charge of environment, and then Sema Okai Eton and Encroforce. I don't have to tell you again, Anaya. And so some of these things, government itself has failed right from the word go. The NDC has a comprehensive plan on mining, and I can assure Obibiaroti and say, the NDC is not going to stop mining. Yeah, mining as soon as Ghana, because mining has been with us from 1910. Emra Abrofo yeah, starts here. But we will make sure that mining is done in a responsible environment and in a responsible manner. You degrade the environment, you know. And we'll also make sure that we'll come out with policies that you're very reclaiming all the land. There is nothing wrong saying that JB, we are miner. Mama license to go and mine. Minerals Commission, Koshese, or Kwako mine, you know, or or high company, the revenue no yan ye be out on saying I'm an anaya company on the be reclaiming land no or you reclaiming land no. The mining oil no minerals environmental protection put somebody there for be within that community no. Now every day be I'm making sure say on consume be the day he goes to a water body yenchen on yen find engine license sentence no. We can do it in a way and even create jobs within the mining.
Is that what the FPP is not doing right?
What they are not doing right, they're saying, Yes, when I say the last time I had Ghana Water for, I was say if they were spending 1,000 cedis in 2016 cleaning water, today they are spending 7 times how much you were spending in 2016 buying chemicals to purify the water because of mining. And I mean, I'm not in government. I'm no more buying. I know more microphone. What they were spending previously in 2016, they are spending 7 times more today.
I have something to play for you, but Yolex or Facebook or say Pablo doing the most and top-notch approach to issues. Kudos. Elson say no, let me feel. Dennis say more fire. Paul D say more fire. Pablo. Kwabo Adolf say Commander Pablo more fire. Kwame Sapon say 24-hour Yamutu economy. Samuel Barnes and Abans was said this youth organizer is very solid. I like his approach to answering all the questions Wing asked, and his answers are based on facts that can be disputed. Soldier say heat. Pablo, you are very solid. More fire. Ernest Enedebaye. King Philip say knowledge. Pablo. Abraham Ahin said the commander is firing. We dare your back, giddy giddy, until victory is won in 2024, 7 December. Youth power. You think Ghanaians will vote for you?
Is it? I don't think.
Mate.
What if my whole day we live here and the music and boy and you two of my body you are the member of the man and then what can say yeah I'm national youth working committee chairman and it's a legal
nothing else. We will put the Minerals Commission in the communities, EPA in the communities, and then Opare license are Joe Bakra.
No, but the EPAs are still there. They are everywhere.
The EPAs are not everywhere.
The EPAs are everywhere.
They are the regional capital.
Yes.
No, but it's in mining is not done at the regional capital. Minings are done in the communities.
Oko baby to say Mason Quanta. Now, what is this assembly? They have a mining desk officer who is to ensure all these things.
Is he JB? To have a desk officer is not having the EPA there and doing the work of the EPA. But DMC 8 years old. I understand the system better. The American, they say.
Do you think Galamsey was better off in your government at the time?
But at least it was not as worse as it is today.
Thank you.
You see, to make an honest admission, but the level of which we have seen now, today all our forests are in a bad state. We need these people in the districts. The licensing regime, how the line, because if I'm giving a license in a very transparent manner, and then the officers are there in the districts, everyday supervising, you will have people to hold accountable. So that's what I say. But Nipadi Accra, Minerals Commission wa Accra, Lands Commission wa Accra, BBA Accra. It doesn't work like
I asked, do you think Ghanaians will vote for you 7 December? Why? Because before flag bearer NPP for your Mudian, Mobeka said, so Muyiba Miadia. Oh,
it's a
and no answer more the brass band basically.
The Macrabe campaign,
more Bob Ghana for
one cancer, NDC in the cancer. NPP for another car you. Man or Mukujina Kumas no Mukase, say you can do Japan. The mama fa brass band and basic Kumas number mom, and this Nibian Casa. We respect the Ghanaian voter and will not take the Ghanaian voter for granted. We will sell to the Ghanaian voter our alternative policies to good governance. And why I GD say Omutuabamaya Ebebwa. And that is what President Mama is doing currently. The listening to our the building the Ghana we want to our all year. And so we will continue to tell the good people of this country what our policies are and why we think that you're a better alternative to the NPP. And Debbie Amika said, God knows why we are here today. We need somebody with experience, somebody we can trust, somebody who can deliver, and somebody who won't make promises with the tree.
Most more lessons.
Everybody learns lessons. Jay said when you're bad dreamer.
Right. Now I see an pay so be kind home.